Alrighty, who's ready for some really scuffed thrash? I don't know. We're just gonna have some fun today. I'm not really planning on playing anything specific, but yeah, here's the stream that I promised yesterday. Hi, how's it going? Here's the soundboard. I don't know. I really wanted to learn the trooper, so I've been plucking away at it. It's not great, but yeah. Hi everybody. So I know I promised this last night, but I got out for work and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play some guitar. I'm gonna chug a bunch of coffee and have a good time. And then yeah, I just crashed. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I apologize for anyone that was looking forward to the stream last night. Yeah. So yeah, I drank a lot of coffee, and then the only thing that ended up happening was like I ended up laying in bed, and I'm like my mind is awake, but my body can't move because of all the caffeine, and then you got to wake up like 3 or 4 times at night because caffeine, right? So it was a mistake, but here we are today. You know, the week's over. It was a long week at work. I'm sorry that I was not able to stream all that much. It just ended up being one of those weeks. Thankfully, the next few weeks are pretty light. I do have to work tomorrow, but it's a short shift, so we might do some more FF7 tomorrow night. Yeah, you know, I just really wanted to get in here and play some guitar. Nothing in particular. I mean, you guys know me. I play mostly like the same songs every time. Maybe throw in a couple new ones every now and then, but it's more just a chance for me to just kind of let out frustration and chat and say hello to everybody because it's been a few days. I hope everyone had a good weekend. You know, I hope you didn't go too hard last night. I know it's still kind of probably early for some of you. If you're watching on the VODs, welcome. I hope you survived the night. Yeah, it's getting that kind of fall party season. I think we had our homecoming last night in our little college town. I don't partake in that because I'm super old at this point, and being around a bunch of very loud college students is not really my thing these days. But it was kind of cool. We're a small town. We don't really get a whole lot of exciting things around here. But we just finished our new stadium, our new football stadium. And sure enough, for the opening, they flew over a B-2 stealth bomber, which was really cool. I mean, they're stationed not too far away, a few hours north. But I've never seen one. And it was kind of cloudy. I was just, pulling into the parking lot for work. It's like, what in the world? What is a jet doing here? And I thought it was going to be just like, normal, F-18 or whatever fly over, I don't know planes all that well. But sure enough, I'm looking around at the sky, and then through the clouds comes this giant stealth bomber kind of nosediving the town. And yeah, it was really cool finally being able to finally see one. It was pretty sweet. But that being said, let's get in here and play a little bit of music. I've got my guitar rig up. I'm still kind of messing around with some of the settings depending on the song, so it is what it is. But yeah, let's do our warm-ups. There are a couple things that I was going to talk about guitar-wise for this kind of thing, because I do these streams a whole lot, but I don't really talk a whole lot about, I don't know, how I learned or anything like that. I talk about what I do, I guess, but not really how I learned. But yeah, let's do a little Master of Puppets for our opening. I'm taking this a little bit slower than normally you would play it. Jump in the Fire, I mean, you guys know that one. But it's mostly because I haven't played in a couple of weeks, so I'm trying to do my warm-ups. Like these Master of Puppets, Jump in the Fire, they tend to be my warm-up songs. So I'll kind of go into all of that here in just a little bit. So, you know, I watch a little bit of guitar YouTube. I mean, most of my YouTube is VTubers at this point, mostly Hololive. There aren't really a whole lot of VTubers other than like OB Katie Cat, who do a whole lot of like guitar streams. You know, I know there's a couple of others. Mista used to do it quite a bit. You know, he was pretty good. But a lot of VTubers are just like very beginning guitarists, right? I don't really watch a whole lot of like actual guitar YouTube all that much because for me personally, I feel like a lot of it is I don't want to I don't want to say this without sounding really haughty because I'm not the best guitar player, right? And I don't want to put down, you know, people like Ola who are doing some really good work out there on YouTube, right? But I feel like a lot of it is very holier than thou, not not to be confused with the song, yeah, it's trying to give advice, and it's kind of the same way with, you know, a lot of game streams with backseating and stuff. Like, you have to do it this way, right? I guess that's the best way to, you have to do it this way. And I find that a lot of their advice just doesn't work for me, right? So whenever I'm warming up, you know, doing the Master of Puppets thing, right? You know, I've been playing for 20 years or whatever. So it's, you know, I've got my own rhythm. I've got my own play style that fits for me, right? So, you know, things like how I hold my pick and how I hold the guitar, that kind of thing. Like, that's all been ingrained to me over 20 years, and I've figured out what makes it easy for me, right? And so, you know, when you've been playing for a while, you know, I think that personally is what is most important, right? Like figuring out what works for you, what's comfortable for you. You know, I was watching a video the other day. It was like, here's how you need to hold your pick, and you got to hold it between your second and third joint, and fold your index finger in, and that way you can, you know, play without losing speed and all of this. I'm like, I don't hold my pick that way at all, and neither does James Hetfield, and neither does a lot of the guitarists that I've learned to play. They just hold it between their finger and their thumb, you know, with the pads of their fingers, and they just play, right? And so, you know, I find that a lot of guitar YouTube is it's very like, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong, which was a high school method of thinking about music, in my opinion. But there are some lessons that need to be taken from it, right? Like, I think, you know, I think even veteran guitarists, you know, we know our warm-ups, right? Like, don't skip your warm-ups. If you are a beginning guitarist, you know, there is a lot of advice in there that you should probably listen to. That way you don't get carpal tunnel 20 years in the future. And, you know, some of those practices and whatnot are going to help you build up the speed and build up that dexterity, right? So it's not saying that all beginner advice is bad, right? Like, I don't want it to make it sound like that, because a lot of that, I mean, is very, very important when you're first starting out, right? So circling back around to Master of Puppets, the reason it is my warm-up song is because it is essentially that scale warm-up that we all know, that every beginning guitarist has learned to play. You know, it's, you know, you play those first 4 frets, right? you know, that kind of thing. Master of Puppets, you know, it's a sick riff. It's probably one of the most iconic riffs of all time. But when you really break it down, it is that scale. It is literally just that practice. You're just moving up and down a string the entire time. So instead of going, you know, you're going. So, you know, once you start playing for a little bit and you've kind of mastered the scales and you're a little bit more comfortable with your wrist movements, especially on the picking hand, because I almost play exclusively from down picking, right? You know, that's it's a really good song that sounds really good. It's a riff that I think most guitarists like playing, but it's also really good practice and building up, you know, when you're first picking up a guitar for the day to build up that speed, build up that dexterity, right? And then Jump in the Fire is kind of the same way, right? Like I'm sure most people have, if when you're first starting out, if you're learning metal and that kind of thing, you probably learn about spider scales, right? Your spider fingering, right? And Jump in the Fire is very, very similar to that. You know, it's moving between, you know, your first, third, and fourth finger quite a bit. If you're playing it like I do anyway, so it just kind of helps you build up, you know, that dexterity, and especially if you haven't played in a couple weeks, it's always kind of a good way to kind of get up and about, right? Yeah, and so I like playing that one just because, yeah, it gets you kind of that whole hand workout, right? You know, sometimes I get questions about, you know, why am I playing the same song so much? And to be completely honest, because I don't actually play all that often off of stream. So when it's been 2 weeks since my last guitar stream, that's what lets me warm up. I like playing those songs because it keeps my hands nice and nice and flexible more than anything else. But yeah, you know, when it comes to a lot of the other advice, though, you know, once you start playing for a while, you're in that intermediate and advanced level, right? Like you got to find what's comfortable for you. So you kind of got to take advice for a grain of salt. You know, do your scales, do your warm ups, you know, do the important stuff when you're learning, do the foundational things. And you know, from there, it's kind of like writing. You kind of got to learn the rules so you know when to break them. It's the same way with music. You know, you've got to figure out what's comfortable for you, what works for you, what doesn't. It does take some self-awareness. You know, you kind of have to realize what kind of things you are good at and what kind of things you are not good at. Like growing up, you know, I think everyone that picks up a guitar wants to be, yeah, lead guitarist. Ooh, I'm gonna riff and you know, everyone wants to get in there and do that, right? But you know, getting older, I realized like I'm not that good at that. Like my fingers get tied up. I'm not that good at hybrid picking. Like there's a lot of things that I'm not good at that a lead guitarist kind of needs to do. So that's kind of when I moved into, you know, rhythm and that kind of thing. You know, it does take some self-awareness to be like, okay, this is something that I either need to work on or something that I'm not particularly good at, but I am good at these other things that I think would help the music, right? So yeah, you know, when it comes to advice like how to hold your pick and that kind of thing, I feel like that's getting a little too specific. Like music's not a spreadsheet of efficiency, right? Like you gotta feel it out, right? And a lot of that kind of thing is really good if you're learning to like play certain covers. learn to play certain songs. Like, yeah, if you want to learn to play the Inner Sandman or whatever, like, okay, this might be the best way to go about it. But especially if you're wanting to write your own music or create your own sound, like that kind of thing, like you kind of got to know when to break those rules and work within what's really good with you, right? Um, because that's something you just have to feel. Like, I guess if you're writing things down on sheet music, or you are, writing your own tabs in Guitar Pro or something like that, and building your song that way, you can kind of sit and think about it a little bit more, and really kind of play around with the theory of it. But if you're like me and don't know a whole lot of music theory, or don't really write a lot of your music, you just kind of sit down and jam and try and make good riffs. Yeah, that's something you just got to feel. And I think a lot of the big time guitarists would probably tell you the same thing, because a lot of the big time guitarists couldn't read sheet music. Stevie Ray Vaughan couldn't read sheet music. I don't think most of Metallica can read sheet music, come to think of it. Yeah, a lot of your big names, like they're just going completely off of feeling, and what they've learned from patterns and music that they played growing up, how to incorporate that into their own sound, that kind of thing. Like, you just kind of gotta feel it out a little bit, right? But yeah, that's why I end up doing a lot of those same songs, like Master of Puppets. Like, that's my center ground. Like, sometimes if I feel like I'm getting a little bit too hasty, or I'm muddying things up too much, or my fingers are getting tripped up, going back to those foundational things and those foundational songs that like the back of your hand, it just kind of centers you a little bit, brings you kind of back down to earth, lets you just kind of sit back and think about things in perspective, right? So, Master Puppets is one of mine. Inner Sandman's always a good one. I like Blitzkrieg a lot. Blitzkrieg's always kind of a fun one to play. And then, once I've had my fill of just kind of jamming out to those, then I can go back in and just kind of get a little bit more spicy, trying to come up with my own stuff, because I've got that. I've got myself centered again, and my mind's not racing all over the place. That could just be an ADHD thing too. That could just be me, right? But yeah, I like Blitzkrieg. It's super easy to play. I don't play it a whole lot on stream because I'm sitting down, but whenever I'm playing it standing up, like, I get into that whole Hetfield stance and just really just kind of arch those knees a little bit and have some fun with it, right? But yeah, Blitzkrieg's always fun. I mean, it's just power chords for the most part, but it's a lot of fun when you do that. Like that little part, because that I can actually kind of like move my guitar around a lot without having to think about it. Like, I'm very active when I'm standing up. Like, I really like to move my guitar around a lot, but I'm not a good enough guitar player to like really run and walk while I'm playing the whole time. I don't know how Kirk Hammett does it, just, or God forbid, Angus Young trying to do some of those solos while bouncing around on the stage. Like, that's just pure skill. That's just talent. Like, that's something that I don't know if you could ever teach that. That's just something that you're kind of so born with, that musical inclination to be able to do that kind of thing, right? So yeah, but yeah, that's why I play a lot of the same songs. It's kind of my thoughts on like guitar theory and learning to play and that kind of thing is, listen to the foundations, do your scales, do your exercises, but you kind of got to know at a certain point, like, what works for you, what's not working for you, so you can learn to break those rules. You don't necessarily have to hold a pick a certain way, that kind of thing. I'd probably listen when they give advice about your fret hand. That way you're not, like I said, giving yourself carpal tunnel 20 years into the future. But yeah, there's certain things that certain things you can kind of listen to and be like, yeah, that's not working for me, right? Like, it's just not how I do things. Unless you're like, your pick is flying out of your hand or something like that, then okay. I guess maybe listen a little bit, right? Man, I had that the other day, and now I can't remember it. I mean, that's like, it's just Stargazer, right? Let's bring that up. Stargazer tab. I don't know how I've forgotten it in the 2 weeks. Oh, that's why, that's why. All right, a little bit better. A little bit better there. I was a couple frets off there. Let me get some water here. Ooh, my hands are kind of sweating. Like it's starting to get a little cold out. So I've got my little space heater like on full blast right next to me. But unfortunately, I have to be kind of careful so my guitar doesn't get too hot and ruin the electronics. But yeah, it's a little bit yeah, it's a little bit spicy in here. Yeah, I kind of like that. I could do something with that a little bit later. Yeah, I really need to learn Guitar Pro, and so I can actually like remember most of this stuff because I know I'm going to go back to the VOD and listen to this and be like, I don't remember how to play that. I've already told you once that I don't really remember how to play the opening little starting screen music, even though I wrote it. Like, yeah. I'm really bad about that kind of thing. Okay, let's Oh, I'm losing it. All right. That's fine. That's fine. We'll yeah, let's move that up a frame. Let's see here. See how easily I forget my own my songs that I've learned. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. It's been a while since I've Since I played this one, God knows if I can remember it. It's, it might be a little tricky here. Let's see. Okay, there we go, there we go. Yeah, that's just gonna be the repetition. That's just something I gotta do a bunch and get gradually faster at, over and over and over again, you know. But see, I think the weird part is I think that he plays it much like on a much higher fret than that, because I remember playing that as a kid, and that was like on the 5th and 6th string, if I remember right. There we go. Maybe not. Maybe not. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's a little bit closer to what I remember right there on the 8th and 9th, well, 7th through the 9th frets on the 4th and 5th string. Or I guess that's 2nd and 3rd. I always look at it from top down, but you know, you know what I mean. Yeah, there you go. That's a little bit closer to what I remember. Yeah, switch it up to the top top humbucker. You get that really nice chug. Let's move that up a bit. No, ultimateguitar.com. I do not want to sign up for your newsletter. There we go. It's fine. let's see here. What else could we play here? And it's oh, I can tell I haven't played in a while because my fingertips are already getting kind of sore. Yeah, I hope, I don't know if you guys went and saw them at Power Trip. Yeah, it's nice to see Brian Johnson back to it. You know, they're definitely, I mean, they can still play a hell of a lot better than I can, but you can kind of tell they're getting a little old. But you know, if you get a chance to see them, I definitely recommend it before it's too late. One of the best concerts I think I've ever seen was AC/DC. CDC at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, one of the loudest concerts you'll ever see, that's for sure. But they're not going to be around much longer, you know. So go and see them while you can. They still got it, and a little slower than they used to be, but yeah, you can still see Angus up there doing a 12-minute guitar solo for "Let There Be Rock." That's for sure. So you know, let's see. Yeah, I'm probably not even. Oh, hey, they actually do play that in standard. I'm not in the right tuning for a whole lot of blues stuff, but yeah, I mean, you know, AC/DC is always a lot of fun because they're ultimately like a blues band when you really get down to it. I mean, that's how they started. That's what they learned on, and yeah, I mean, they can play it better than anyone else, I think. Yeah, some great licks in there. What the old YouTube recommends have. It's I don't know, it's been a weird week. It's been a weird week more than anything. Let's see. I don't know if I can play Light in the Black. Not at speed, especially not the solo. I'm not Richie Blackmore. I mean, it's just that for like 10 minutes, well, 8 minutes, but then he's got that sick solo in the middle. I mean, that's really the him between him and Tony Carey doing his synthesizer solo. Yeah, man, it's some good stuff in there. If you've never heard Rainbow Rising, I mean, that's one of the greatest albums of all time, in my opinion. Let's see here, man. The problem is I'm trying to think of some stuff that I have not really played a whole lot of, but I mean, I feel like I've kind of gone through most of my repertoire over the course of a lot of these streams, right? Let's try this here. Let's crank this up a little bit. Just bear with me a second. There we go. There we go. All right, let's give this another shot. Okay, there we go. Let's switch this over because that's probably Kirk's there. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's... I feel like that's not this tab's not high enough. Right? Yeah, that's a complete mess. But yeah, I feel like that the the harmonics there. I don't know. I just I feel like it's a little bit higher, but maybe that's James's part. I don't know. Um, it could be that I'm just misremembering. It wouldn't be the first time I've done anything like that. Um, oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I want. Let's see. Where is that? Yeah. Whiplash. There we go. It was easy to play, but it's fun. I mean, it's just old school thrash, you know. It's just old school, right? If I can figure out where the hell my hands are going, yeah. All right. So I think my hands are just about dead. As much as I would like to keep playing, this is what happens when you don't practice, kids. So yeah, just to make sure, practice, keep those fingertips nice and calloused, right? That's about all I can say. But yeah. way down. And then whatever the hell Kirk's doing over there, like... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not Anyways, thanks a ton for coming out, hanging out with me this afternoon. It's good to be back. We might do another stream a little bit later on this afternoon. I have not decided yet if we're going to do anything, but it's still early. It's still Sunday. So we might hop in and get a little bit more of FF7 done. I did get my golden chocobo, so we can actually move on with the rest of the story after I go up and get Knights of the Round. But who knows? We might do something else a little bit different. It's the world is open to us at this point. But it's I'm glad to be back. It's been a long week at work, and yeah, short shifts. But I mean, anytime you're away from streaming that much, it definitely takes you a little bit to kind of get back into it. But thanks a ton for everybody for coming and hanging out with me. It was not the best of playing in the world, but it never is. I promise nothing, right? But thanks a ton anyways. You know, if you are checking me out for the first time, you know, like and subscribe, hit me up on Blue Sky, XZit or whatever it is. You know the deal. And sure enough, you'll get the updates as far as when I'm going live, what's going on. You can see my meme posting, all of that good stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys didn't mind my scuffed thrash all that much, but I appreciate everyone stopping by. I am going to go and rest my fingers for a little bit, so I'm going to try not to wait that long between guitar streams next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.